And heading now to Minneapolis, we're joined by Mr. Matthew Brodsky, Senior Fellow at the Gould Institute for International Strategy and President of Red X Strategies. Thank you very much, Mr. Brodsky, for your time tonight. Yes to airdrop, but not to dropping support for Israel. What do you make of Biden's statements tonight?
I actually find them very disappointing. The turn he's taken in the past weeks toward the more left-wing progressive elements of his party, including Blinken's speech when he was back in Israel, talking of kind of creating a moral equivalency, is horrible. What I have a problem with here, and is an ongoing issue, is that all of the pressure seems to be on Israel. None of the pressure seems to be from the United States on Qatar. None of the pressure is on Egypt to allow anything in. And none of the pressure has to do with Hamas, obviously. He didn't mention them at all in these comments. So I think this is another missed opportunity, but really shows you the political calculations he's making.
So to that point, Mr. Brodsky, to your understanding of the dynamics, because after what now seems to be this pretended or forced charm offensive, this over optimistic flair that was presented in the past 10 days or so, what is the leverage at the moment over Hamas? Is there any?
I mean, the United States has tremendous leverage over Qatar, who has tremendous leverage over Hamas. And the United States could choose to exercise leverage over Iran, but Biden is not choosing to do that. He's not choosing to actually create an effective deterrent by targeting Iran, inside of Iran. And he's not choosing to use the issue of the Al Udeid air base, which is the United States major CENTCOM base inside of Qatar, which he could use as something to actually threaten Qatar with, because this is where all the pressure needs to go. And I don't understand what negotiating tactic, it's frankly tactically nonsensical to be broadcasting publicly that there'll be a ceasefire or something on Monday. So now by all appearances, it looks like he's simply applying only pressure on Israel, which isn't necessary, and of course making Israel jump through hoops that the United States doesn't even deal with. I mean, I could go on and on, including the whole idea where we're constantly, the Biden administration is trying to tell Israel to abide by the rules of international war. Israel always does, and I would even say as much, if not more so, than the United States. So this pandering to the progressive wing, the Michigan uncommitted votes in the United States, is a bit gut-wrenching.
So before I ask you the bottom line question, whether politics are dictating policy rather than the other way around, when it comes to the Rafah dilemma, if you will, Washington says no. Is it a hard no or a soft no? Do you think, Mr. Brodsky, that the White House at the end of the day understands the need of sealing the Strip's southern tip?
Look, the Biden administration will pressure Israel and Netanyahu specifically as much as possible. That's why you hear the continued rhetoric from them that this is a Netanyahu thing. It's echoed by all Democrats, as opposed to the understanding that around 90% or so of Israelis are behind going into Rafah and basically Israel's military strategy at this point. So you'll see the little things like meeting with Benny Gantz, who was certainly more pliable when it came to making agreements with Lebanon. Of course, he could withhold weapons, but then it becomes a larger congressional issue in a Congress in America that's fairly locked in the minute, each side with their own rhetorical positions. In the end, this is an Israeli decision, and what Israel needs to do is actually win the war and then win the peace, because they live in the region, and the United States, specifically Biden himself, is not good at either winning wars or winning the peace, and then will withdraw and leave catastrophes that occur afterward. Israel knows what it's doing, or I trust that they do. The United States should enable Israel to finish the job.
Mr. Matthew Brodsky, Senior Fellow at the Gould Institute for International Strategy, President of Red X Strategies. Thank you, sir, so very much for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And let's